Hello, and welcome to Own Your Retirement. My name is Albert Lalonde from Kaizen Financial Group. If you like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 586-752-7008. And while at my website, click on the podcast page to check out our past shows and to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Okay, signed into law by President Biden in January of this year, the Social Security Fairness Act has been one of the biggest financial news stories of 2025 thus far. And as you'd expect from a piece of federal legislation, it's a complicated stew of clear benefits for some people and uncertainty for other people. So, if you're nearing retirement, any new Social Security legislation or changes to the program's rules and regulations is big news that you'll want to understand. So, during today's show, we're going to walk through the Social Security Fairness Act so you can get a sense of what the legislations may mean for you. But before we get into that timely topic, let me introduce my co host, Tony Shore, who's as important to this show as Social Security is to retirement. Hey, Tony, how we doing, buddy?
That right there, you're not prone to exaggeration, but you're gonna have to stop with the compliments. You're giving me too much to live up to here. But the topic today, it's a good one
Yes,
because I'm always
yes.
excited when you pull something out of the recent news. I mean, this is a current hot button topic right now,
Hmm. Hmm.
and pick it apart a bit for us so we understand what's going on. But first, yeah, we were talking before the show. It's we record the show on Tuesday morning, March 4th, and it's today is Fat Tuesday,
Yes.
which is Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and
Yeah.
it's also Tariff Tuesday. So
Yes.
there's a lot of market volatility, and so if
There
people have
is.
questions about that or concerns, don't make any emotional moves, right, Albert? They should pick up
You're
the phone and give you a
definitely
call.
correct. Yes, definitely, definitely. Now's not the time to react. This is just, if you want to call it standard with par and what the president's trying to do with the tariffs and that. So obviously the market's going to react to it and then adjust afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
All
all right,
right. So
we're
where do you
going
want to start?
we're going to consider a couple different articles today. And first of which is from a Kiplinger article titled Social Security Fairness Act Will Boost Retirement for Millions. Will you be impacted? So, first, let's do a quick bit of history here, Tony. The Social Security Act was signed into law in 1935 by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and was intended to be a federal safety net to provide benefits for older Americans funded by payroll tax contributions. However, a provision added to the legislation in the 1970s barred public service worker who received pensions from also receiving Social Security. But the legislation signed into law at the beginning of 2025 instructs the Social Security Administration to adjust benefits for more than 3 million Americans impacted by that 1970s provision, including tabulating retroactive payments and future payments.
Well, yeah, and this is interesting. I've read a little bit about this, and I'm glad you're clarifying this for us. Now, the Social Security Fairness Act, it sounds like it's a major shift for the program. What are we talking about in terms of dollars and cents?
Great question. It's, in fact, anticipated that the new law will trigger an average monthly increase of about $360 for impacted Social Security recipients. Now, the article adds that beneficiaries will be compensated for the year 2024 with lump sum payments worth thousands of dollars to make up for the smaller benefit paid out that year. Right now, you're probably saying to yourself, well, there has to be a but here. And you're right. People who qualify for these payments may have to wait up to a year or even longer because retroactive payments in 2025's increase, well, they have been delayed.
Already, already delayed. What gives with that?
Well, in that same article, it gives us the detail. The SSA is battling a number of challenges when it comes to meeting the huge task of recalculating previous and current benefits for more than 3 million people. The first of which is that the agency has been operating under a hiring freeze,
Hmm.
which has its current staffing levels below those of the fiscal 2023. And the Social Security Fairness Act doesn't include any provisions to fund its implementation. So, Because the SSA's current staff is already stretched thin, processing the complicated legislation will be a time consuming endeavor. And the article adds that the SSA is currently developing procedures and automated solutions for computing retroactive benefits, Tony.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, obviously, the Social Security Administration or the SSA, given these additional tasks and their current staffing issues, that's going to slow the entire process down for some people. I've heard rumors that some people already have seen it. I've heard rumors that some people have seen nothing yet and
Yep.
might be toward the end of the year before they see something. So it's kind of a wait and see, but eventually it'll happen.
Yes, and you're absolutely right there. So those that, let's say, didn't start their Social Security, but now is going to choose it this year, and was under that WEP windfall elimination provision, well, they will go ahead and get the extra as they go this year because there is no reimbursement, so to speak. Okay, so they'll start going on, but everyone that's been on it for a while, that's who's going to have to wait as they compute everything to figure out what they're owed. Now, we've explained the potential for the delays. Let's get back into some of the legislation details. So, interestingly, the Social Security Fairness Act repeals both the government pension offset, so what we call the GPO, which was enacted in 1977, and the windfall elimination provisions that we call WEP, which was enacted in 1983. Now, the WEP reduced Social Security benefits for workers who receive government pensions not covered by Social Security. The GPO is similar to the WEP with the notable exception that it affects spousal and survivor benefits of a person receiving a non covered pension, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's interesting. And pensions are great, but if people also worked and paid into Social Security, I think it is fair that they receive that full Social Security benefit. And I'm not terribly familiar with the GPO or the WEP, the windfall elimination. Uh, Between the two, how many Americans are actually impacted by this?
Well, combined, the GPO and the WEP prevented just about, let's say, 3 million former public service workers who receive pensions, such as teachers, firefighters, police officers, postal workers, and others, along with their spouses, from receiving their full Social Security benefits every month. Now, the logic behind the two provision was that if a person receives a government pension, they shouldn't also get Social Security benefits using the same formula as someone without a similar pension. But again, the Social Security Fairness Act repeals both the GPO and the WEP, Tony.
Yeah, I chuckle because the government has eliminated the elimination provision. They've
Right.
eliminated the elimination provision. I love that. But outside of the GPO and the WEP, who's impacted by this new legislation?
Well, those impacted include people who work in the public sector and or receives a pension through the public employment. The legislation affects state and local government employees who have had jobs that require them to pay into Social Security. Now, previous public service workers should eventually see an increase in their payments thanks to this legislation. But again, the larger payment could be delayed for a year or more, Tony.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, this is really important, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners will have questions about it. How can they
Mhm.
get a hold of you and your staff there, Albert, if they want to set up a consultation?
Yes, folks, you can visit my website at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen, or call my office at 586-752-7008 and discuss how we can answer your questions addressing your concerns about Social Security, your financial strategy, or any other parts of your retirement plan. Remember, it's our goal to help you prepare for the retirement you've worked so hard for.
Yeah, thanks, Albert. And that's great. I encourage our listeners and viewers out there to give you a call. I know you love hearing from folks and helping them out. That's what you do. Now,
Yes.
we've been talking about the Social Security Fairness Act, and it sounds good. What do you have for us next?
Well, I think our first segment was important and informative. The fact is, the legislation we addressed only impacts a small percentage of Social Security recipients. So, in the time we have left today, I like to discuss Social Security in, let's say, a broader way, Tony. Okay.
Sure.
So let's go to another Clippinger article titled Social Security Basics 12 Things You Must Know to Maximize Your Benefits. And it provides some great information I think is very useful. So, number one is finding your full retirement age, or what we call the FRA. Now, you can start claiming your Social Security benefits a few years before or after reaching your full retirement age, which will affect the amount you receive each month. But first, it's important to determine what your full retirement age is. Now, sometimes referred to as normal retirement age, your FRA is the age at which you qualify for 100% of the Social Security benefits you've earned. Now, if you were born between 1943 and 1954, your full retirement age is 66. Now, for those born in 1960 or later, it gradually rises to 67. Claiming benefits before reaching full retirement age results, though, in a reduction. And filing at age 62, for instance, could lower your benefits by up to 30%, Tony.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, 30%. So, Social Security is so important. You've said it before, Albert. It's the foundation of any solid retirement income plan.
Yep.
And you need to figure out, what age your full retirement age is. And if you're unsure about figuring that out or want more insight as to what age you should file for Social Security, everybody's situation is different, or how it impacts the size of your Social Security payment. Uh, Again, reach out to Albert. Albert, you do this type of thing all the time, and you have the Social Security maximization report. Because don't just because your neighbor or your best buddy at work filed when they turned 62 or 65 or 67, that doesn't mean that's the right age for you. You need to
Correct.
find out when your sweet spot is based on your situation and your spouse's. You have to do it
Yes,
together too.
you're definitely right. And then let's not next consider how to become eligible for Social Security benefits. I know we're coming to basics, but this is good stuff that people should understand. And to
Right.
qualify for Social Security retirement benefits, well, you need to accumulate at least 40 credits during your career. Now, since you can earn, let's say, a maximum of 4 credits per year, it takes at least 10 years of work, well, to become eligible. So in 2025, earning $1,810 will grant you a Social Security work credit, while reaching $7,240 secures the full 4 credits for the year. And yes, this means you could have Social Security taxes withheld without ever receiving benefits if you don't meet the minimum requirement.
Right. Yeah, you have to understand the rules if you want to play the game, right? Is basically what you're
Yes.
saying. And
Yep.
I'm reminded, when I got my first job as a teenager and started my Social Security clock, I remember that the good news is my eventual Social Security check won't be determined by my high school job, right?
Right.
It's my later years that are really going to help and make the difference.
Definitely. And you know what? You set us up perfectly for the next segment or section about Social Security benefits and how they're calculated. So,
Sure.
your Social Security calculates your primary insurance amount based on your highest 35 years of earnings, Tony, not your last 35, the highest 35 years of earnings. And it's also adjusted for the national average wage index. So, if you have, let's say, less than 35 years of earnings, any missing years will be counted as zero. So you can boost your benefit at any time, even through part time work in retirement, by replacing a zero or low income year with a higher earning one. Now, however, there is a maximum Social Security benefit you can receive, which varies depending on your retirement age. In 2025, the maximum monthly benefit at full retirement age is $4,018. It's an increase from $3,882 back in 2024. So, to estimate your potential benefits, try Social Security's online retirement estimator, or discuss it with your financial service professional.
Right. Always do that. And make sure you're working with a fiduciary who's going to look out for your best interests. Now, can the monthly Social Security payments, we talk about locking in a payment once you file, but can they get any bigger after we file our Social Security checks?
Yeah, one of the best features of Social Security benefits is that the government adjusts the benefits each year based on inflation. So this is called a cost of living adjustment, or what we just shortly say COLA. And it helps your payments keep up with increasing living expenses, at least it tries to. The Social Security COLA but is significant. In fact, it's the equivalent of buying inflation protection on a private annuity, which can get very expensive. So because the COLA is calculated based on changes in a federal consumer price index, the size of the COLA depends largely, well, on broad inflation levels determined by the government. And they're a bit different than those in the monthly consumer price index, followed by economists and others. So, in 2025, Social Security beneficiaries are receiving about a 2.5% COLA in their monthly Social Security benefit. Here's what COLAs have been in the other recent years. In 2024, last year, it was 3.2. In 2023, when we felt inflation really go up in 22, they gave us 8.7%. And then 22, 5.9, 21, 1.3, 20, 1.6, so on and so forth. Now, when we had low inflation like 2016 and 2017, we had 0 and 0.3% increases, respectively.
Okay. I like the cost of living adjustments. Everyone does, right? I mean, that's really important. And, once I do file for Social Security, I'll be keeping a close eye on those COLA announcements for the next year, right?
Heck yeah, I'm right there with you on that one, Tony. Now, you can start collecting Social Security benefits as early as age 62, but doing so results in a permanent reduction anywhere from 25% to 30, depending on your full retirement age. Now, waiting until your full retirement age ensures you receive 100% of your earned benefits. But if you hold off until age 70, your monthly benefits will grow by 8% a year thanks to delayed retirement credits. Plus, any cost of living adjustments will still apply, so you won't miss out on those increases, Tony. And think of this as, let's say, extra earning years with virtually no risk, providing a return that's hard to find, well, elsewhere. So, delaying filing can also benefit your heirs too. For example, if a high earning wife postpones her claim, she can significantly boost the survivor benefits by her lower earning husband would receive if she passed away first. That extra income, up to 30% more, could make a meaningful difference in that household.
Yeah, that would make a huge difference. Now,
Mhm.
I mean, we started off today, Albert, talking about the Social Security Fairness Act, and now we're talking about some important elements to understand about Social Security. What do you have for us next?
Well, let's finish with another Kiplinger article here titled Social Security Basics. I mean, the same one with 12 things you must know to maximize your benefits. The next thing he talks about is Social Security's basic of spousal benefits.
Yep.
Marriage offers advantages when it comes to Social Security
Mm.
benefits. A spouse can claim a spousal benefit, which can be as much as 50% of the partner's Social Security benefit if they wait till their full retirement age. For instance, if you receive $2,000 a month from Social Security while your spouse's own benefit is only $500, they can instead claim a spousal benefit of $1,000, effectively increasing their monthly income by $500. But note that the higher earning spouse must apply for their own Social Security benefit first, Tony. And then, similar to claiming your own benefit early, taking a spousal benefit before reaching full retirement age results in a reduced amount. So the 50% spousal benefit is only available at full retirement age for the spouse, while claiming it as early as 62 could lower it to just about 32.5% of the higher earner's benefit. And
Okay.
additionally, if you begin collecting your own benefit early and later switch to a spousal benefit, it will still be reduced.
Okay, but it sounds like that spousal benefit that Social Security offers could be a big addition to many financial strategies. But again, this sounds like something that you want to work with somebody like yourself on, right?
Definitely. You want to make sure you get all the facts and information. And then lastly, we have what's called Social Security survivor benefits as well, available for spouses and children, Tony. If your spouse passes away before you, you may be eligible for a Social Security survivor benefit. However, you can't receive both your own benefit and the survivor benefit. You must choose one. And
Mm.
at full retirement, the survivor benefit equals 100% of what your spouse was receiving at the time of their death, or what they would have been eligible for if they hadn't yet claimed benefits. Now, widows and widowers can begin collecting a survivor benefit as early as age 60, though the amount will be reduced due to early filing. And a potential strategy, if let's say you have your own Social Security benefits and haven't yet claimed them, maybe is to start with the survivor benefit at age 60 and then switch to your own retirement benefit at age 70. And while the survivor benefit will be reduced due to early filing, your own benefit still continues to grow with delayed retirement credits all the way up to age 70, which could maximize your payout, Tony.
Yeah, that's great information. I will admit my head is spinning a bit, Albert. It's a
You
lot
got
of
it. You
information.
got it. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But and it's understandable. But online tools, working with your financial service professionals, all those little things can help compare different claiming strategies, which will help determine what is most beneficial for you. And remember, remarrying can affect your eligibility for survivor benefits as well. If you remarry before age 60, you will not qualify for a survivor benefit. However, if you remarry at age 60 or later, you may still be eligible to receive benefits on your former spouse's earnings, Tony. And additionally, eligible children may receive a Social Security survivor benefit as well. This includes children under 18 or up to 19 if they are full time high school students, and those who became disabled before age 22. Their benefit can be up to 75% of the deceased parent's benefit.
That's good. Well, where do taxes fit into all this? How do they affect Social
Ah.
Security?
Well, most people are aware that Social Security is funded through payroll taxes. It's currently 6.2% for employees and 6.2% for employers. But many retirees are surprised to learn, well, that Social Security benefits may also be subject to income tax when they start receiving them. In fact, since 1984, Social Security benefits have been taxable, and the income thresholds that determine taxation, well, they haven't been adjusted for inflation since 1984. So,
Wow.
yes, it's called the provisional income formula. It doesn't take much income, I should say, to trigger taxes on your benefit. In fact, if your provisional income formula is below $25,000 for single filers or below $32,000 for married couples, your benefits remain tax free. But if your income falls between $25,000 and $34,000 for a single filer or $32,000 and $44,000 for married filing joint, that's up to 50% of your benefits that could be taxable. And then once your income exceeds the $34,000 of a single filer and $44,000 for married filing joint, now it's 85% of your benefits may be subject to tax for every dollar over those marks. So the Social Security Administration estimates that about 40% of beneficiaries pay taxes on their
Mm.
benefits. And because the income thresholds haven't changed, that number continues to rise each year, Tony.
Well, there's also a Social Security earnings test, right?
Oh, that's right. Bringing in too much money and earned income can cost you if you continue to work after claiming Social Security benefits early. Now, with what is commonly known as the Social Security earnings test for annual income, you'll forfeit $1, okay, in benefits for every $2 you make over the earnings limit. For 2025, that's $23,400. Now, once you're past full retirement age, however, the earning test no longer applies and you can make as much money as you want with no impact on benefits. Now, any Social Security benefits forfeited to the earnings test aren't lost forever, though. At your full retirement age, the Social Security Administration will recalculate your benefits to consider benefits lost to the test.
All right. Well, great show today. Do you have anything else you want to add before we go?
Listeners, if you want more information about your Social Security and how to make sure you're claiming and maximizing and getting all the benefit information and understanding your taxes on Social Security, that's the big thing. Visit my website, www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen, or call my office at 586-752-7008. Remember, it's our goal to help you prepare for retirement so you can own your retirement.
All right. Thanks, Albert. And listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Own Your Retirement with our host, Albert Lalonde.
Take care, everybody.